Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tim Shaves, and today it's gonna be a honing video. Hope you guys are doing well, having a good weekend, and let's get right at it. Today, gonna be introducing a new stone to the channel. This is the Vermont Green Slate. Got this from Griffith. My first impression when I got it, I mean, it's a great size. 8 by 3 by around 1, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Haven't measured it, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty much fits my hand. Good size. The surface was a bit smoother than what I would like. So right off the bat, I was like, huh, this feels very glassy and smooth. Still does, but when I put, so I've used this a couple times, and when I put water on it, the feedback changes a little bit, where it kind of grabs onto my fingers a little bit more than when it's dry. So at least that's been my experience the couple times I used it. And yeah, pretty consistent surface, even though you see all these different markings on the stone. I don't feel lots of inclusions. The one thing I do feel is around here there's a little marking, and I do feel something, so there is an inclusion here, but when I hone on it I don't feel anything on the blade. So I try to lap this one out, but doesn't seem to lap out, so I'm just gonna use it as it is. If it gives me issues later on, I might have to lap it down a bit more, but I didn't feel anything under the blade, so I'll use it as it is for now. Came with the slurry stone. I believe this is a part of the stone. Maybe not. Kind of looks like different shape. No, maybe this way. I don't know. Yeah, that looks like similar color. Yeah, and it slurries up. Okay. Not the easiest to slurry up, and it sometimes leaves a little scratches on the surface of the stone. So I gotta be a little bit careful not to go crazy when I'm making the slurry. So yeah, today I'm gonna be honing this Krusius Brothers. It's got a nice black ornate scale here. Got one tape here. I was honing this on the Rozsutec stone. I've been using that stone pretty often these days, and the more I use it, the more I'm thinking it's more of a pre-finisher than an actual finisher. I've had some decent shaves with it, finishing on the Rozsutec, but it's just leaving me a little bit more to desire. So maybe I just haven't learned enough of the stone yet, but every time I use it, there's just a little bit more to be desired. So I'm thinking if I were to put it on a grit scale, maybe around the 8K. I know when I got it from Griffith, they say it's about 6 to 10K stone. So which kind of is in between that pre-finisher to finisher category. I'm still not quite sure. I know I can shave off of it, but just not the edge that I want. So I'm thinking maybe I can go from like a synthetic 5K to the Rozsutec, and then maybe on a finisher like this one. I've used this a couple times, and it improved the edge every time. So, and I think this one is at that finishing category. So I'm gonna try that today. Gonna slurry up some slurry, I guess, and do a little dilute cut here. Work with the slurry, dilute it with a single drop every 15 half strokes or so on each side, and then finish with water only at the end. Maybe I'll use some soap at the end, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. So let's wet the stone here. It's a beautiful looking stone once you wet it. I'm just gonna kind of rub the surface, make sure if there's any dust on the surface of the stone, that's all out. Yeah, under the water, when it's wet, the stone grabs onto my fingers a little bit more, so I do like that. I'll leave a bit of water there. Yeah, that's a beautiful stone. It's almost looks like a piece of tile on the floor, which actually, it might be a piece of tile. Because they use slate for different housing decoration purposes and flooring and all that stuff. Roofing. This might be just one with some honing properties. So let me slurry this up here. All right. I chose one side of the corner of the slurry stone to use. So I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, it's the sound is not my favorite. It's kind of got that squeaking. So sorry, those of you guys that are a little squeamish with these sounds. All right, it seems to be doing better today. Before, it was kind of scraping the stone, maybe a little less pressure is helping out. Aiming for about light slurry, not too much, but enough to leave an imprint on the edge. And then for this one, the slurry tends to, yeah, it doesn't slurry up as easy as I want, but it kind of appears suddenly. So, got some spray here. I don't see much of a slurry, so I'm just gonna wet it down a little more. Once I start seeing that white slurry, I think I'm gonna stop, but it doesn't slurry up as easy as I want. Which might be a good thing or might not matter. All right, how's that? All right, I'm seeing a little bit of that white slurry. Still could barely see it. Maybe a little more. I'm seeing a little more there. All right, let's leave it there. Oh shoot! Almost kind of stuck to the surface of the stone. Don't want to fling the slurry off. A little more water. All right. Yeah, that kind of took a while, longer than I expected. And still not that much slurry. You can kind of see the reflection on the stone, a little white bits here and there. Just gonna have the cup on the side. Usually I would have it where the camera's at, but let's leave it like that. Alrighty. Gonna wet the blade real quick. Make sure any dust off. Alright, start off with some X strokes just to get the feel on the stone. Oop. Sounded a little rough there. All right, I'm definitely seeing the slurry. All right, and start the dialcoat process. I'm gonna do half strokes here, 15 on one side. Okay, and then 15 on the other. Right, I'm just gonna do a finger drop of water, repeat the process. Back on the other side. Another dilution. And the stone feels pretty smooth. Guess it reminds me of the Chinese natural stone, but it is different. I'm just repeating this process here. One thing about the Rozsutec stone, I don't think I'm going to be using that with slurry anymore. If you've seen the video that I made with that Rozsutec stone, it sounded pretty crunchy, and I don't think it's leaving the edge. Don't think it's improving the edge at that point. On the other hand, the slurry on this stone doesn't leave any crunchy sounding particles. I think the Rozsutec is kind of similar to arcs in that sense, where you don't want to use slurry on it. Maybe different types of slurries. Maybe like a J-Nat slurry or a Cottonkill slurry. I've yet to try that, but that is an option. Stone's still feeling pretty good. Nice and smooth. And if you can see, the stone is slightly angled to this way. You see some dry spots over here. I've tried to lap down one side of the stone to try to even it out, but haven't quite got there yet. And I think I've lost track of how many sets I did. Probably 6 or 7. Kind of go by how much the slurry has been diluted. So I think we're getting pretty close. Getting pretty good undercut, but with this much water and slurry, that's kind of expected. I keep scraping the side of the stone with this portion of the shoulder, so I gotta be careful not to alter the geometry of the edge. Because once I ride up on that shoulder, that means that the parts of the edge that's touching the stone is going to change. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a warp to this blade as well. One side, the bevel is larger over here. The other side, bevel is larger towards the toe and the heel. Oh wait, did I do front or back? I forgot where I was at. I'm gonna do this one again. Hopefully I didn't mess up the edge, because I forgot where I was at. It's one of the cons of making a video, because once I'm talking, it's hard to multitask. Alright, I'm going to do one more dilution here. The feedback on the stone hasn't really changed. It's pretty smooth. Just going to rotate the stone real quick. Then I'm gonna do a couple sets of half strokes with some heavy dilution of the water. So I'm just gonna do some X strokes and get that slurry off. Just putting that on the, dropping that on the sink. A couple more. This is the way I believe Bart Torf does it, and Devin from the Unknown Stone has demonstrated as well. And I'm just gonna drop a bunch of water here. Doesn't matter how many drops because I'm just diluting it heavy. And I'm gonna do 2 more half strokes here, 2 more sets of half strokes. Yeah, the resistance on the stone has increased. With the heavy dilution in the water. All right, that's 2 dilutions. Gonna rinse the blade real quick. A little palm strop. And then I'm gonna rinse the stone out over here. And then I'm gonna do water only strokes. Just gonna be X strokes for at least 50 laps. That's the way the dial cut method is presented. But sometimes I'll just do more just because I want to keep honing. Looking at the edge. Ah, looks pretty good. All right. Let's do some X strokes here. Just gonna go back and forth on the stone. And that undercut has decreased by a lot. Undercut is slowly coming back. It's gonna put some more water there. I believe I've done 30 laps now, going on 40. It's pretty silent, the feedback on the stone. It's glassy, but you still get some feedback. It's kind of like a hard rubber. Different than a J-Nut. I think J-Nut definitely has a nicer feel, at least the one that I have, but kind of reminds me of it, just slightly. I think I'm past 50 laps now. I'm just gonna keep going because I want to. And I could use soap over here, but I'm not feeling a resistance on the stone, so I'm just gonna keep on going with water. Usually I'll go to soap if I feel some resistance, but I'm not feeling anything here. Yeah, it feels nice. Kind of like a hard rubber. doing slight X strokes to see if I can alter the movement of the water. Because how the stone is angled, it's keep on rolling down the stone, so I'm just gonna try to guide it on the other side here. Yeah, that's kind of a pet peeve I have with stones, is the ones that are slightly angled. That makes the slurry and the water travel one way, and it's kind of annoying. Not... And I just put away my Atoma 140, so don't want to get it out again, but I'm gonna have to, because just to correct this, the angle of the stone here. Yeah, the resistance is not really there. Feedback's not changing. So it might be one of those stones where you just keep honing on it. It might be a slow stone, I don't know. But I'm not feeling any change in resistance or the feedback on the stone. Just feels like kind of glassy, but not really. And sometimes I like to push the stone to its max. So maybe could be satisfied at 50 laps or I don't know, 60 laps, but maybe I want to push it to 100 laps. That could run into some problems of like over honing, and I think Devin mentioned of work hardening, but I just haven't gotten to that yet. Or maybe I have. It's just when I test with these natural stones, I haven't experienced that yet. I know for synthetics, I try to stop a little earlier for the ones in the finer grits, but naturals, I've always heard that it's really hard to overhone on a lot of naturals. I just like honing on these too. Sometimes these glassy stones or ones that feel like hard rubber, it's very nice to just relax and just endlessly hone, which might be bad for the blade, who knows. But that's the lesson you learn as you hone and kind of progress in this journey. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, so just keep honing. Alright, the undercut, I guess, hasn't changed much. I'm getting on most of the edge, maybe except for the heel. The heel's quite not, the undercut is not there on the heel, but the rest of the edge seems like it's climbing up. Not a violent undercut, just climbing up a bit. Oh, where am I? Oh shoot, we're already at 30 minutes. Alright, I think I might be done over here, because nothing's changing. I'm just honing and honing and honing, honing and honing. It's almost like I'm feel like a robot, where kind of zoning out in these moments. In glassy stone, sharp edge, and sometimes these are the parts where I make the mistake and kind of ruin the edge. So I will stop right here. All right. Whew. That felt pretty nice. Definitely zoned out there for a while. I definitely do that with some when I do X strokes, because you don't really have to count. All right, looking at the edge, looks it's got some polish to it. It looks a little hazy. It's not like J-Nuts, but visual doesn't look too bad. Let me cut some hair. See how it goes. Not bad. I don't think it's quite there, but maybe after I strop it, it'll get to that point where I'm satisfied with the edge. But I think it's improved it, but very slightly. So I think I still want to shave with it and see how it goes. But yeah, that was a pretty nice honing session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I guess in conclusion, this Vermont Slate, known to be a finisher, feels pretty glassy. Not as glassy as Arcs, but like right before, feels like hard rubber. Slurry, using slurry, feels nice. Yeah, did a dial-cut process and extra some water. Feedback didn't really change, but yeah, enjoyed the whole process. So I'll probably be shaving with this, maybe off camera, maybe on camera. But yeah, I'll leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your experience has been with these Vermont Slates. I know it's a pretty popular stone. For those of us starting out new or been doing it for a while. It's a pretty affordable stone for, at least in the US, because you can get it from Griffith. But haven't seen it anywhere else. So, but yeah, let me know how it goes for you guys. I'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys for watching. It's Tim Shaves, and I'll see you guys next time. See you.